Hello, everyone. Welcome to an episode of Nerd Talk. I'm your host, Brett Jones. Since we are not supposed to have any further scenes to know where Marvel is going until Black Widow comes out, we are going to be digging into the post-credit scenes of Spider-Man for any future direction. If that's what you're here for, make sure you stick around. Of course, spoiler warning, consider yourself warned. Now, to quote a good friend of mine, Nacho Libre, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Let's start by talking about what actually happened in the two scenes. Then we will talk about two important story arcs that can come from the setup of these two scenes, so make sure you stick around and watch the entire video. The first scene starts off with Spider-Man and MJ in New York. I think it's so funny that Europe would be considered more of Tom Holland's home than New York is, yet the title is Spider-Man Far From Home. Maybe it should be called Spider-Man Closer to Home. Anyway, so Peter was swinging around with MJ. When they finally touch down, MJ says she won't ever be doing that again. Peter says goodbye and swings up a lamppost to watch a news broadcast. The video was a pre-recorded video released by Mysterio before his death. Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, had rigged up the video to look like Spider-Man was actually the bad guy, stating, "Spider-Man is attacking for some reason. He has weaponized some Stark technology and says he's going to be the new Iron Man, no one else." Then it cuts to a conversation that was edited over to continue to show that Spider-Man is a villain. One of my personal favorite parts of the clip is reminiscing Jonah Jameson from the series with Tobey Maguire. So iconic, and still so perfect. The video returns back to Quentin Beck with the pinch point. Peter Parker is Spider-Man. This will make it so interesting to see where Peter Parker goes from here, especially with the theme of getting a new Iron Man throughout the movie. It's kind of cool to see a callback to the first Iron Man movie when Tony Stark says at a press conference that he is Iron Man. We see that Peter Parker gets a similar call out to the world who he really is, but through media. Now on to the second scene. The clip opens to Maria Hill and Nick Fury. Well, kind of. They shift back to their actual forms, Skrulls. It is, however, only for the duration of the movie that they were actually impersonating Nick and Maria with Talos and his wife that we were introduced to in Captain Marvel. So now, if you haven't seen Captain Marvel, you have an excuse to go see it. Talos admits to being fooled by Mysterio. The call eventually goes to the real Nick Fury that appears to be on a beach somewhere, but it is only a simulated reality. Nick Fury is really on a Skrull spaceship. So what does that mean? This is a good time to talk about S.w.o.r.d, which stands for Sentient World Observation and Response Department. This is like the S.h.i.e.L.D. equivalent from the Earth, but for outer space. Now that S.h.i.e.L.D. doesn't exist anymore, technically, it would make sense for Nick Fury to be pushing intergalactic safety. What I'm going to be specifically talking about are two story arcs that can stem from S.w.o.r.d as we know it from the comics that bring up some interesting future possibilities. The first story arc I want to talk about is Secret Invasion. There have been Skrulls on Earth since Captain Marvel, so in other words, since the 90s. During the Secret Invasion storyline, S.w.o.r.d was involved in the comics. The story involves a long-term invasion of Earth by the Skrulls that have secretly replaced many of the superheroes with imposters. This story arc features heroes like Mr. Fantastic and Charles Xavier, which is cool considering that Marvel now owns the rights to their characters. Galactus destroys the Skrull throne world. Galactus would be an awesome new enemy, which leads to the invasion of the Skrulls to Earth. They break out some prisoners from Raft Prison. It is after that a new Avengers team is assembled. That'd be a really cool way for the MCU to continue. The second story arc is really cool. It's not really being talked about, but it's the Unstoppable story arc featuring the X-Men with S.w.o.r.d. I get so excited by this because Marvel just recently bought the rights to the X-Men from 20th Century Fox. I'm hoping that this will be a segue into how we will see the X-Men enter into the MCU. Comment below what you think is going to be coming up next with the MCU. Thank you so much for liking this video and subscribing to my channel to help my baby tiny channel grow. There will be more episodes of Nerd Talk coming soon. Until next time, nerds.